We give glory to you. Oh Lord, we worship you this Lord, we worship. Can you hear the sound of heaven? It's like the sound of many waters. It's a sound of worship coming from His throne. There are cries of adoration, men from every nation lead their voice to make His glory known, singing, holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. The elders and angels bow, the redeemed worship you now. Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. Can you hear the sound of heaven? It's like the sound of many waters. It's the sound of worship coming from His throne. There are cries of adoration, men from every nation lead the voice to make His glory known, singing, holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. The elders and angels bow, with the redeemed worship you now. Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. Elders and angels bow, elders and angels bow, with the redeemed worship you now. Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. Elders and angels bow, elders and angels bow, with the redeemed worship you now. Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. holy, holy are you, Lord. Oh, holy, holy, oh, holy, holy are you, Lord. Holy, holy, oh, holy, holy are you, Lord. Lord, we worship you this morning. We give honor and glory to you. Thank you for this great opportunity to come to you again, to learn from your feet. It is in you we live, we move, and have our being. The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Lord, we worship. The elders and angels bow. The redeemed worship you now. Holy, holy, holy are you, Lord. Lord, we worship you this morning. Give you all the glory and all the honor. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, friends. It's another time to feed in the word of the Lord. This is Rhema, Hour of Impact. And this morning promises to be explosive. Good morning, sir. Baraburi. Good morning, sir. This morning promises to be explosive. Truly, truly explosive. And I'm depending on the Holy Spirit to download into our spirit fresh insight and truth from his word. I'm not supposed to do a broadcast today because Nigeria is having an election, so I wanted to postpone it. But since they postponed their election, we have to go back to what we're doing and then have this session. So we are going to go into the word now. Let me just leave the keyboard here and move us to another level as I rearrange my system here. Please help me share this. Help me invite people to come on board and my Instagram friends. Good morning, Saz and Ma. I have people on Instagram who are joining at the same time. This is a red hot session this morning. Red hot session. Red hot session. And I want us to listen with rapt attention as we learn from God on how to overcome delays in ministry and church growth. How to overcome delays in ministry and church growth. Now, this topic may not be interesting to so many people who are not pastors, and but it's a vital subject, very critical subject, and I have taught this subject before in the past, so I decided to link the subject of delays that I've been dealing with to these subjects. So for my Instagram friends, we are dealing with overcoming the pressures of delay in ministry and church growth. Overcoming the pressures of delay in ministry and church growth. And this is a very fundamental subject. I'm a pastor and I've gone through this process and I'm still going through it. Delays here and there, delays in different areas. There is no man of God on earth that will escape delays in ministry or church. And the ministry is not just church planting. Whatever ministry God has given you, whatever it is, there is no man of God on earth. Do not be deceived. Anything I touch, I get immediately. That is Satan talking. That is Satan talking. There is no wait and get in God. Hey, God's people, I wish I can shout that to the roof. There is nothing called wait and get for people that are older, that are in their late 20s and above, or early 30s and above. They know what wait and get is. So when we used to take pictures in Africa, and then you need to get the passport photograph, you go to a studio, a small studio with a kiosk, and the man will use his big camera, and then he will put it and do like this, and blow air on it. You take it immediately. And if you want a wait and get church, a wait and get ministry, then you go to Satan. You pay his dues, he gives you the package, everything will be working fine, no problem, no challenges, no delay, everything will be smooth. Any human being on the face of the heart, regardless of who that person is, who tells you he doesn't wait to get anything from God, it's a Satan person speaking, it's not God. Any human being, North America, Europe, Africa, that tells you he's a pastor, he's a minister, he has not waited for anything, that is Satan speaking. Unfortunately, many Christians fall prey, fall victim of this, and they are easily swayed when they see results. And the reason why the Lord has asked me to do this teaching is to encourage myself, because I'm part of the same system, and to encourage other pastors and other ministers of God. And God carefully chooses his audience. Whether there are 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, I do not even care about numbers again. Because if you want to walk with God, you must not be too numeric in your assessment. You must not be too numeric. Numeric and numbers are very good, very important, but don't be over controlled by numbers. You will miss God if you're living like that. If there are 1 million people in the church, then God is there. If there are 10 people in the church, God is not there. You've made a big mistake. You've made a big mistake. You've made a big mistake. There was a time that God told Gideon to take people to battle, and Gideon brought like 25,000 soldiers to God. And God said, I don't need them. There are too more. There are too many. Take them to the river. Let me test. No, he said, anyone who is afraid, return. Thousands of them return. Remaining about 15,000. God said it is too much. Take them to the river. The people that kneel down to drink water, separate them from those that laps water like a dog. And only 300 people pass the test. And 300 people to fight a battle where enemies are thousands of people. You must not be too numeric if you want to walk with God very far. And you are using numbers to validate the truth. Big size, that is God. Small size, that is Satan. You will miss it. One man can still be a majority with God. One man that is standing for the truth can have more worth and value than 1 billion people in the eyes of God. One man. There was a time God was speaking to Ezekiel. God said, I searched the entire face of the earth. I am looking for one man who will stand in the gap, and I cannot find one man. I am looking not for 1,000 people, one man. So the attitude of a Christian, the attitude of a pastor, the attitude of a minister is something like this. I am one man with God. Personal relationship, oneness with God, one man. It's going to bail you out of a lot of trouble. And I'm saying something that I have gone through myself. We are all subject to pressure. I have gone through financial pressure. I'm still going through it now. Church growth pressure. Still going through it now. People come to church. People leave. People come to church. If you know how difficult it is to raise a church, and you have done everything as a pastor to help people, as soon as their problem are solved, they will leave the church. And you cannot control them. You can manipulate them. Let them make up their mind, whatever they want to go. So, if you meet anyone who tells you, I do not wait for God to get anything. Anything I want, I press the button, I get it. I want 1 billion, I get it today. And anything I want, I don't wait to get it. That is Satan speaking. And unfortunately, our generation has been polluted with tens of thousands of such ministers all over the world. All over the world. This is not an African phenomenon alone. It is even in America, it is in Britain. If not worse in America. If not worse in America. All over Ghana, Zambia, Cameroon. I mean, it's all over the world. Wait and get ministers. Wait and get believers. No process, no waiting, no grooming, no training. Wait and get. You see, an American man sent his son to a university in the US to study. The friend of that man is the vice chancellor of the university. So it's like me sending my son to a university to study, and the owner or the vice chancellor of that university is my personal friend. So this man called his friend. He said, I want my son to study medicine. I want my son to study medicine in your university, but I want him to spend only 1 year. I don't want him to spend more than 1 year, but I want him to study medicine. And the friend replied, so it depends on the kind of doctor you want your son to become. There are different types of doctors. There are medical doctors. There are medical native doctors. There are people they call doctor because they carry big books around, professors, but they have not opened one chapter of any book in their life. So for a medical native doctor, you just need 3 months training. Just know the name of leaves, the red leaves plus the green leaves, mix it with herb, use it to cure malaria. But you want to stand inside Mayo Clinic in New York, one of the biggest clinics for surgeries in the world, and you want to open up people, you must spend 7 years. You must spend 7 years. You must spend 7 years. And I'm giving us this foundation before I go into the word. Many years ago, I had this story from a man who was part of the meeting. There was a man of God in Nigeria whom God sent into Nigeria from Britain. The man is called S.G. Elton. Pa S.G. Elton. He was a British missionary. He came from England, and he mentored all of the leading fathers in Nigeria today, plus those that have passed away. He mentored Archbishop Benson Daosa. He mentored Pastor Adeboye. He mentored Bishop Francis Waloke. He mentored Bishop Oyedepo. He mentored Pastor Luby Johnson. He mentored Dr. Moses Aronsiola. He mentored, name every great man of God, every famous pastor in Nigeria today, and some in Ghana, some of them in Ghana as well. So in 1979, 1980, 1979, his home in Elisha, Nigeria was like a tourist attraction, like a Mecca. Pastors at that time were brothers. Bro David, bro Enoch, bro. So they were very young that time. They were in their early 30s, late 20s. So they would go to Pa SGLT for mentorship. And Pa SGLT will be teaching them about ministry. And he said something that I will never forget. He said, fellow brethren, fellow brothers and sisters, beware of quick growth. Beware of quick growth. I can't forget that statement in my life. He said, beware of quick growth. And he said, do you all agree with me? And they had some other very detailed and personal discussion, and they all agreed that they would do what the man said. And the man released them. The man is dead now. We all know what is happening now in our society. Quick growth is the enemy of real growth. Quick growth is different from real growth. It is not everybody that has a big body that is healthy. It is not everybody that has a big body. There are some fatness that are natural fatness because you are eating well. There are some fatness that are as a result of sickness. So there is a difference between natural healthy fatness and elephantiasis. Elephantiasis is a sick, kills people, and they'll be getting big. They'll be getting big. They'll be getting big. But if you see someone who has elephantiasis and you're celebrating, he's a fat man. He's a fat man. You're just making a mockery of his life. This topic I'm treating has sent many pastors to hell. This subject I am treating has sent many pastors to hell. In fact, it has sent many people to their untimely graves. The ability to manage pressures when ministry and church work is not growing at a rate you want it to grow. And there was a man that missed it in the Bible. That man failed. Why did he fail? The man's name is called Saul. 1 Samuel chapter 10 verse 8. 1 Samuel chapter 10 verse 8 is our anchor scripture. Samuel told Saul, you must not carry out any sacrifices. Wait for 7 days and I will come and carry out that sacrifice. The role of the king is different from the role of the prophet or the priest. God carefully segregated those roles. If you are a king and you perform the duty and function of a priest, you are in trouble. If you are a priest and you perform the functions and duties of a king, you are in trouble. That was why God struck Uzzah. You remember that story of Uzzah? When David was moving the Ark of the Covenant on the donkey, and the donkey stumbled, and the ark was about to fall, and Uzzah, he was doing what was right in his eyes. He wanted to help the ark from falling. The Bible says, and God smote him dead. That was in the Old Covenant. Now, in the New Testament, we have been made priests and kings. Priests and king. So God has given us a better covenant established on better promises. He merged those two roles, kings and priests. I don't want to go into the details of that because it's not the area of focus this morning. The kings there is not capital K. We are kings under a king. Now, that king is called the King of Kings, and it's Jesus. So that you are a king, small K-I-N-G, doesn't give you the authority and the power to do and overdo, to do anything you like at any time of yours. You are subject and submissive and submitted to the king, capital K. That is why he is called the King of Kings. King of Kings. Every New Testament Christian is a king and a priest. That by the wayside. So there are 4 areas of crisis in ministry and in church growth that affect a lot of pastors, including myself. 4 areas. Church growth in terms of numerical growth, number 1. Number 2, finances. How do I get finances? I want to preach the gospel. I want to write a book. I have gone through the same problem, and I'm still going through some of them now. So I'm not saying something that I have overcome completely. So I am learning from what I'm saying now at the same time. Number 3, signs and wonders and the miraculous. Everybody wants to lay hands on the sick and get him recovered. Every pastor wants to see the miraculous. Because when you are performing miracles will drive people to your church. You become popular. Number 4, every pastor or every minister likes to have network and connection. You want to connect with big pastors. You want your name to appear in front of newspaper. That is ego. I will deal with those things later on. But those things are inherent in our flesh. Everybody wants recognition. I want my name. Why must it be the name of Bishop so and so every time? I want them to invite me to big conferences. Every human being has a flesh. Even when you're born again, the flesh is still there. And if you are not careful, the flesh can dominate the spirit, and you will elevate the flesh above the spirit. These are the 4 critical areas. Let me tell you, those 4 areas and the steps that men are now taking to achieve them and the consequences. Let's start with the negative and then we go to the positive. I want my church to grow. Because when the church grows in number, and church growth doesn't necessarily mean you are in a building. You can have your church in your home. You can have your church in your car garage. Church is not building. Church is ecclesia. And ecclesia means the called out ones, the people at the church, human beings, body of Christ, the believers coming together. So whether you hold it in a building, you hold it in an hotel, you hold it in your house, it's a church. So let's assume you want to hold it in a building. You need money to pay rent, pay bills, and the church has to grow, because when the church is growing, it creates the platform for people to help. So if you have 5 people in your church, it determines your financial capacity. If you have 10 people, it determines it. 100 people. So the more the people that are being influenced and blessed by your ministry, the greater, the easier it is for them to help you. Now, I'm speaking of an ideal situation, not for people who are manipulating people and deceiving them. They will help you. When they see pastor going through problems, and they love you. Oh, pastor, take this shirt, take this shoe, take this money. People will help you. They will give you money, give you things. Now, there are occultic ways of growing a church. Now, we are in a generation where we have heard the stories of so many pastors burying cows under their church before they build the church. And as the cow is getting rotten and worms are coming out, crowds will be coming in. It is happening. Just Google what I'm saying. It's everywhere. All over Ghana, Cameroon, West African countries are worse. That is not so popular in Europe and America, but in Africa, in Nigeria, in Ghana, Cameroon, You see people going to occultic priests and they will tell them, go and bury somebody, go and do something. They do it. So, but when you do it, the church explodes. So a pastor starts a church today, within 3 months, he has 10,000 members. And the friends will be envying him, not knowing what he has done. And they'll be praying to God. God, you bless Pastor James. You bless Pastor James. His church is the biggest. But the man has gone to Satan. You can build a church that has thousands of members, that has influx of people without going to God. That is the reason why I always emphasize that you don't validate the truth with proofs. That is not the doctrine of the kingdom of God. Because something is producing result doesn't mean it is God. You validate the truth using fruits, the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22. Love, joy, peace, humility, faithfulness. All those things are called the values of the kingdom. Any environment where you see those things, you can't find Satan. You can't be humble, you can't be truthful, you can't be loyal, you can't love people, and Satan will be in charge. Your values are different because Satan doesn't want you to love people. He wants you to oppress people. He wants you to be proud. It's the enemy that steals and kills and destroys. And you can't have love, joy, peace, long suffering, humility, living in you permanently, and you're exhibiting them, and you'll be able to obey Satan. They work in opposite direction. So most things that God can do, Satan can do them. Not all things. Most things as related to church and ministry growth. You can grow a church without going to God. You can gather crowds without being original. These things are very, very, very popular. People can grow a church by teaching errors. If you want your church to be packed, a man of God called me one day, sometimes 2017 or thereabout, and he said, Pastor Ayo, your messages are too strong. They are too deep. People don't like to hear the truth. One of my friends, let me digress. One of my friends, few days ago, said that he wanted to write a book and wanted to write some things in the book, but he was concerned that people may read those things and be angry with him. He now asked me for my counsel. I said, let me see what you want to write. And he was telling me what you want to write. I want to tell people that offerings in the church and tithe in the church must be used to help people, to help the poor, to help everybody. I said, so you are afraid to say the truth. I said, I don't write books to please people. I write books to please God. He was shocked. I said, I don't write books to please people. I write books to please God. The Bible says every idle word that men shall speak on earth, they will give account in heaven. All my books will be revealed in heaven. So I am writing it not to please men, but to please God. So whether 10 people read it or 20 people, I do not care. I do not care. I do not care. Because not every book that people read transforms them. Many books can inform you. Only few books can transform you. I have read some books in my life that I can't remember the title again. They just informed me. But there are some books I've read that I finished reading the chapter, I was crying. I read one book by Rhea Bunky. I was crying. I locked up the door of my room, and my wife was coming. As she was coming, I was cleaning my eyes. I didn't want her to see me cry. I was crying when I saw the impact of that man's ministry, and I saw his humility, and I saw his love. I said, God, you used a man like this. And I saw the sacrifices he made. And I saw his heart cry. And I saw his pains. And I saw his persecution. I saw how they locked him up in the cell with terrorists. Rambonki. They locked him up in Islamic cells. They locked him up there. I said, God, and I was crying. I have never forgotten that book till today. But there's some books I've read. They were just talking psychology, motivation, and I just read them. They will inform me. I'm not saying they are entirely bad. Don't get me wrong. But if you are looking for genuine transformation, you got to look for a book that is speaking to truth. Truth himself. Who is Jesus? Jesus must be the center of focus in that book, and the Holy Spirit will be breathing through that book, because it is the Holy Spirit that transforms. Nobody can change anybody. You cannot change anybody. You can only talk to people. If they don't want to change, they won't change. So I said to my friend, I don't write books to please people. I don't write books. I write books to please only one man, who is God. So back to my friend's story. Back to the pastor story. So the pastor called me and said, why are your messages are too tough? People don't like to listen to the truth. He said, start preaching like T.D. Jakes. I can't forget it. He said, start teaching like T.D. Jakes. He said, talk about problems and hopes and motivation and tell people how there is nothing wrong with T.D. Jakes. I love him. I love him. So don't get me wrong. I said, for me, I am not called to tell people about motivation, about hope. Although those are good, I am called to raise disciples of Christ, strong Christians. That's my mission. Go and set the captives among my people free. I said, Lord, what does that mean? He said, my people are in the captivity of knowledge. They are not growing. They are weak. Go and feed them. And I am going to give you a book with which you will feed my people. That's my mandate. So all my teachings and trainings and books are geared towards teaching people and making them to grow in Christ. And that comes at a price. Because people don't like to hear the truth. You will not see crowds of people gathering to listen to some things because they want to hear things that will hype them up, that will tell them to drop 1,000 and become a millionaire. And I'm not called to do that. So church growth is one area of crisis and delays, and you can solve that problem by going to Satan. And you can solve that problem by going to God. So you have to choose which one do you want. Each of these channels has its own consequences. So we are living in a world where pastors are going to the occultic to get powers to grow their church. They are preaching half truth or complete errors. Half truth or complete errors. Half truth is even worse than complete errors. When a man is preaching half truth, he will teach 98% truth, 2% error. You will never detect it. Never. But when a man is teaching complete error, everybody will know. They will run away from him. So there are pastors that are teaching half truth, because if they teach complete truth, it is going to be very difficult for you as a pastor to preach like Jesus and have a mega church. It is very difficult. I am not saying it's impossible. It is very difficult to preach and use Apostle Paul's model, Jesus' model, Act of the Apostles' model to preach, and you rest your ministry on that and gather millions of people into your church. Not conferences now, not events. I'm talking about the local church. By the time Kenneth E. Hagin died, he didn't have 2,000 members in his church. Kenneth E. Hagin, local church. When he was doing, anytime he was doing the Rhema Bible conference they normally do, people come from all over the world. He has thousands of people coming in. But local church, 1,000, 2,000. There was a time he had 300 members because they were criticizing him, they were abusing him. And if your heart is geared towards number, like I said, you will miss God, because you will elevate errors above the truth. If your heart is tuned towards numbers, this is a very subtle thing. Somebody will ask me, his numbers not good. Numbers are very good. 1 billion people in the church, oh my God, we will change the whole world. But human beings are not wired like that. If you want to teach like Jesus, you want to minister like Paul, like Peter, and you want to gather 1 billion people in your church, it is an impossibility. Because you will ruffle the feathers of people. You will tell them the truth. You will point finger at them. It is not good for you to have your brother's wife. Corruption is not. When you are telling them the truth, they will be living. They will be living. What is the consequences of building church growth on preaching errors or occultism? If that is where you are going and you want to get quick success, you want your church to grow, what are the consequences? Number one, you breed unsaved congregation who are on their way to hell. You will have 10,000 members, more than 9,000 of them, no more, are not believers. They may be religious. That is when you are building a church mechanically. You want it to grow by all means, and you have gone to every corner of the world, under the sea, occultic groups, and there are pastors doing it. Doing it. Notable ones. to drive growth. So when you see a church of 10,000 members, you see carnality, you see people who are not born again, who are not saved, but they will be giving money. And the pastor will be very happy because he has money. Number two, area of crisis and delays that pastors go through, which is probably the strongest of them, finance. There's no way I can do justice. This is a major seminar I can run for 4 weeks. Finance. And I'm talking about good pastors now. They want finance because they want to pay the bills of the church. They want to help people. But there are other people who are looking for finance for so many reasons. Hego, I want to buy beautiful cars. There's nothing wrong in riding beautiful cars if those beautiful cars are not bought at the expense of the money of poor people. And so you have a beautiful car as a pastor, the members are working on their foot, and you did not work for that money. You took that money from them to buy that car, and when they are even coming, you drive past them, and they are waving at you. That is what is happening in Africa. And they are working in, day out for months. There are people who go and join occultic groups to get money, and you will think God has blessed them with money. There are people who do all kinds of things to get money. They fraternize with corrupt politicians, and they do deals, and they make money, and they bring the money to church, and they sanctify the money, and they build auditoriums, and they build projects, and everybody gives glory to God. All the glory to God. God has blessed us. But the money came from corruption. These are alternative ways of making money. What is the consequence of going through that route? It will breed greed in the church, covetousness, sexual immorality, and all manners of works of the flesh. Any church where the pastor is making money from corruption, from manipulation, go and study them very well. You will see grand corruption in the church. Sexual immorality. The pastor will be sleeping with members, deacons sleeping with deaconesses, all kinds of horror will be happening there. And I'm telling you something that I have read about, I have been part of at least in the last 30 years, 34 years, 35 years. Yes, 35 years. In the last 35 years, I have been part of 8 different ministries. 8. Small church, medium church, mega church. These 8 ministries are in Africa, Europe, North America. So 8 ministries in 3 continents that I have been part of as a worker, as a minister. So I'm talking from experience. So I have studied this thing. Any environment where the pastor makes money from corruption, you will see the works of the flesh. Pride, adultery, lies. It will be propagated in the congregation. There will be money. The pocket of people will be full, but their soul will be empty and dry. The pocket of people will be full, but their soul will be empty and dry. The number 3 areas where pastors experience delay: signs and wonders. Everybody wants to be a prophet. You want to see into the realm of supernatural. Everybody has that innate desire to lay hands on the sick and to be healed. And there is nothing wrong about it. Apostle Paul said, covet earnestly the best gift. And then he said, though I show you a more excellent way. That is in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. You can get yourself to a stage in ministry. You are looking for signs and wonders. I just want to heal the sick. The ultimate rationale behind that pursuit is not because you care for people. You want to be able to perform miracles to draw attention to yourself. Because the people that gather crowds are those that can perform miracles. And then, before you know what is happening, you stop pursuing the miracle worker and you start pursuing the miracles. You stop pursuing the miracle workers, as which is Jesus, and start pursuing miracle. And before you say Jack, you will enter into Satan's trap. There are many ways of performing miracles without going to God. There are many waters people use to wash their face, and they see into the spirit realm. They will tell you the color of your clothes. Pastors are telling people the colors of their underwear, colors of their car, nature of their house, all kinds of horrendous things in this end time. Is it the Holy Spirit that tells people the color of a woman's underwear? That is Satan. That is Satan. That can be the Holy Spirit. That can be the Holy Spirit. So if you are driven towards the inordinate desire to perform miracle, by all means, you will go into error eventually. You will meet a man who will take you to one Baba somewhere. And there are other people, they are not going to occultism to get miracles. They are faking the miracles. Now, I as a pastor will go to a church that has 10,000 members, and I will say, the Lord said to me, there is someone here who has a headache. The probability of having one person out of 10,000 people that has headache is 95%. Out of 10,000 people in Africa, everybody has headache because they have been working in the sun and they are tired. When they get to church, they have headache. And then people will be asked to pay money to get supernatural healing for that headache. And because the pastor has prophesied, they believe in him. So there are other people that they use logic, psychology, and they can predict and gauge people's problem. They have not been anointed in that area of the miraculous. The last area of delay that worries pastors and ministers is what I call networking. Every pastor wants to be popular. You want people to know you. You want to be connected to the who is who. Who should be the first priority of a minister or a Christian? It should be God. You want to be connected to the biggest pastor, but you are not connected to God. One day, I went to a program, a church program, and I was made to sit. That was a long time ago, about 5 years ago, thereabout. I was made to sit at a relatively extreme part of the auditorium, not too distant from the main altar, but towards the extreme part. And I sat down there, and I saw some ministers that were coming in, big ministers in coats, and they ushered them to the front. You know what happened? That's what I'm saying, that every one of us has a flesh in us. The flesh in me rose up. So why should they put me at the back and put this pastor in front? That was not the Holy Spirit speaking. That was the flesh. Within a split of seconds, that thought flashed through my mind. And the Holy Spirit, I gagged it. And I can never forget that statement in my life. He said to me, it is not where you sit among men that matters, but where you sit in God. It is not where you sit among men that matters, but where you sit in God. He said, you pursue me and sit properly with me, and see what will happen with men. When God has put the solution to people's problem in your hand, it doesn't have to be passed on. If you are an inventor, if you are a creator, if you design a product and you are living under the sea, they will fish you out. The Lord said, if you sit well with me, follow my word, honor me, obey me, preach the truth, men will look for you. They will fish you out. They will fish you out. It wasn't long after that time that I began to get invitations. One man of God coming from Uganda and said he's giving me a whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 7 days in his church. No other message, a whole week. And I was getting messages in my inboxes. I never applied to preach in anybody's church. The Lord said, just preach the truth. Truth never lacks audience. Truth never lacks audience. No matter how bad a generation is, there are always remnants who are longing for the truth. Truth will never lack audience. So for those ministers who want fame at all costs, the only thing they do is to look for a pastor that has fame, and they connect to that pastor. Hey, God's people, come and let me tell you the damage that spiritual father and spiritual son relationship has caused. Although there's nothing wrong in it. I don't see anything wrong in it, as long as the one party is not oppressing the other party. Timothy was a son to Paul, and he said it publicly. Paul said it, I have begotten you in the faith. The problem here is that the way Africans apply it, they dominate that person, they oppress that person, they make that person their stooge, and that person is unable to use his critical thinking to do the right thing,
without consulting that man. They stand between that man and God. That is where the error is. But there's nothing wrong in having a mentor. It is perfectly scriptural. Apostle Paul said to people, say, follow me as I follow Christ. There is nothing wrong in following people if they are following Christ. If they are following Christ, follow those who through faith and patience inherit the promises. These are Paul's writings. Because you don't expect my son, my biological son, who is 10 years old, to know as much as I know. One day he asked me, said, Dad, how come you know so many things about the Bible? I just smiled. I said, I don't know anything. He said, I study it every day. So when I'm studying the scripture, I'll call him. I said, what am I doing? Daddy, you're studying the scripture. I said, continue to study it. I've been studying the Bible for 35 years. So even if you are a dummy, you are reading the same thing for 35 years. You will know some little things about it. Now, you don't want my son to say, I don't need my dad. I am now a Christian. I know that. He doesn't know 1/10 of what I know, 1% of what I know. So I will ask him to go and study scripture. He will be blabbing. After 1 hour, he will come back. Daddy, I don't understand what they're saying. By the time I sit down with him for 5 minutes, he'll be laughing. So this scripture means this. This scripture means it. The same process applies in the spirit. There are people that have gone through some experiences in life. You don't have to repeat their mistakes. So if you, out of pride, say, I don't need Brother James. I don't need Brother Christian. Sister Alice, I don't need that. I can do it myself. You will go through their mistakes and suffer what they have suffered. By allowing that person to teach you, he will avoid the mistakes he has made and tell you, don't do it this way, don't do it this way. One man came to me one day and he said he wanted to get married. And he gave me the description of his wife. He said, my wife asked me that if I don't have this salary per month, she cannot marry me. I said, say it again. He said, my wife said, if my salary is not this, I won't marry you. I said, say it again. He said, my wife said, if my salary, I said, you have not found a wife, you have found a knife. You have not found a wife, you have found a knife. You have not married that woman. She is setting a target of salary for you. So if you get a job of 1 million naira today, and tomorrow morning you are sacked from that job, after you are married, she will leave you or make life miserable for you. You want to know what myself and my wife have gone through? We have lived in one room before. And that room, the sofa that we use was a sofa bed. So during the day, you come to visit us, you see a sofa. By the time all visitors had gone, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we fold it, turn it to bed. And she didn't leave me. There were times we could not pay our rent. I'm talking many years ago, about 15 or 14 years ago, about 12 years ago. We couldn't pay our rent for some reasons. And people had to help us. And she stayed with me. Now imagine now, I now become blessed by God. I become rich. I become prosperous by God. And I am now looking at another woman outside. Why will God not judge me? Why will he not judge me? And I have got some people close to me whose wives left them because of money. By the time I finished with this man, he said, Pastor Ayo, the chapter is closed. I said, that woman will finish you. She's setting up salary. This is the minimum salary you must have for me to marry you. She doesn't love you. She loves money. She loves money. You can have that minimum salary today and be fired tomorrow. That is what mentorship does. But what Satan does is that the other side, the corollary is this: there are some people, they are not mentors, they are tormentors. So when you as a pastor, a minister, you see a big man of God and you want to come under his ministry to be your father, you think he's mentoring you, but he's tormenting you. You lose your self-discovery skills. Anything he says, he will tell you, say, yes, sir, yes, yes, sir, yes, daddy, yes, sir. He will give you idea. He will give you, when you go to church, do this. He will give you doctrine. You want to mirror his doctrine. You want to mirror his values. You want to copy what he's doing. And because he will tell you, what I have done produced my success. The formula to my success is what I've done. So you want my success, do what I've done. Don't ask questions. That is what will lead a pastor into occultism. Because the pastor that is the overall spiritual mentor or father will take you one day somewhere. I have shared this story before many times, but because a lot of people come to my platform and they are not part of the original whatever, and there are pastors listening to me now, they may not. I have to share it again. I want to see a man of God who is my mentor, one of the few remnants in Nigeria. I want to see him about 4 years ago, 2016, 3 years ago. So when I got to his office and we began to talk, he said that, do I know that a particular pastor, he gave me his details, sent him a ring in a WhatsApp message, a ring. The ring cost some hundreds of thousands of naira. And he was asking him if he wanted that ring. What is the work of the ring? Power, influence, and miracle. When the ring enters your hand and you stretch your hand like this, everybody will be on their back. They will just fall down. Anywhere you go like this, you command authority. And the pastor said, he told that man, my phone is used to play games by my children sometimes. My wife uses my phone as well. What if my wife sees it? What would I tell her? And the man told him never to send that thing again to him. When he mentioned the name of the church of that man to me, I nearly fell down. I said, we are in big trouble. Big trouble. The eyes of many Christians are blind. They don't know anything. When he mentioned the name of the church to me, I can't say it here. This is where I'm going. Now imagine that man who is my mentor accept that gift. And I'm loyal to him. The next thing is for Pastor Ayo. You want it to? That gift will bring money, millions of dollars to me. I will be walking in the train, walking in the market, in America, wherever. White people will be falling down. I will be casting out demons. I will just stretch my hands. As I'm talking to you like this, for some of you that are spiritual, you will stand. For those that are not spiritual, they will fall down, even in your home, as you are watching me. And everybody will say, Pastor, you has eaten it. He has made it. He's now the GO of Rhema Church. And I will be going all over the world. Invitations will be coming. But the people that are sensitive to the spirit, they will say, something is wrong. Because the Holy Spirit will always bear witness with our spirit. The Holy Spirit will always bear witness. The Holy Spirit will always bear witness. So I have looked at church growth, finance, miraculous, and networking. 4 critical areas. But before I give us my remedy, this remedy is according to the word of the Lord, not according to my experience. Let me tell you, what is the correct biblical approach to managing delays in ministry? I have been speaking about the problems and the issues. Let's now go to the positive side of things, the remedies. God has given me a calling. I'm a minister. You could be a musician, you could be a songwriter, and this also applies to all other ministries. Engineering is a ministry. Medicine is a ministry. Hotel and the hospitality industry, that is a ministry. You can write very well. That's a ministry. You are a public speaker. That's a ministry. Ministry is not just relevant to pastors and people who occupy the 5-fold office ministry office. There is a foundation for every ministry. The Bible says, if the foundation be destroyed, what will the righteous do? Let me tell you the foundation. If you look at the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 14. Mark chapter 3, verse 14. You must never forget that scripture. Mark 3:14 says, and he appointed the 12 that they might be with him and that they might preach the gospel. And he appointed 12 that they might be with him and they might preach the gospel. Look at that scripture. Now, a casual reader of the Bible will not see anything there. That scripture is the time bomb. He appointed 12 first that they might be with him and then they might preach the gospel. So the correct priority of ministry is to position personal relationship with Christ above ministry activities. If you put activities above relationship, you burn your fingers and shoot yourself in the foot. So the driver, the steering of ministry success is oneness with Christ, making sure that personal relationship is ahead of ministry. Because when you have a buoyant, healthy relationship with Christ, that will drive your activities. When someone invites you to come and sign an occultic covenant, you say no, because I love Jesus, I cannot do it. When somebody tells you that a politician has a bribe for you, if you can say something that is wrong, you say no. The Bible says we shall not serve God and mammon. You are loaded with the word, you are loaded with scriptures, because you have a personal relationship. Every pastor, every minister of God that is teaching errors today, they have collapsed in their personal relationship. Many of them have elevated ministry above relationship. Ministry is inferior to relationship. Relationship is the most significant achievement with God on earth. If you do not have a relationship with Christ and you pastor a 1 billion member church, you are going to hell. You have not given your life to Jesus. You don't know Jesus, and you have a big church. It means that you have collected power from somewhere to gather people together, and you are going to hell. So all the pastors that are making consistent, continuous, bold mistakes, when people correct them, they flare up. Their relationship has been corrupted. That is where the problem is. It's like a child that is carrying a load on his head, and the load is bent, and people are looking at the load. In my language, they will say, somebody is carrying something on his head, and the load is bending. You don't look at the load, look at the leg. The foundation is corrupted. Relationship. Every single day, I must study the word. I don't read the Bible, I study the Bible. I can spend 1 week on one verse, reading the same verse every week. I will be going into the Greek lexicon, Hebrew lexicon. What does it mean? What are you saying? One verse for a whole week. By the time I am done with that one verse, I would have received such incredible revelation. And because the word of God is not just letter, it is spirit. Jesus said in John 6:63, it is the spirit that quickens. The flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirits and they are life. So when you are a passionate consumer of the word, you are receiving spirit, a fresh dose of the spirit, fresh every day. When I have temptations, women temptation, money temptation, the load of the word is so strong that it gives me energy, not by my power now, because I don't have any power. It gives me enough energy and empowerment to withstand that temptation. But because pastors have elevated ministry achievement above relationship, the model given by the master himself is that I appointed people first that they might be with me, and then they might preach the gospel. First, you want to last in ministry and in church. The wind that is blowing in this generation, the wind of confusion and error, it can blow anybody away that is not standing. It can blow anybody away that is not standing. Mark chapter 3 verse 14. He appointed the 12 that they might be with him, and then they might preach the gospel. Being with me is superior to planting churches, to having crusades. It is your level of effectiveness in being with me that determines the level of accomplishment in ministry. If that priority is not correctly set now, you will miss it. You will miss it big time. Any door that opens, you jump into it. Any opportunity, you jump into it. Any word you receive, you jump into it. Any doctrine, that is God speaking. any proof, that is God doing it. Any church growth, God is doing it. You have no way of distinguishing between error and truth because your heart is already lifted. You are already nurturing the idea of having what that person has. There is no amount of money in this world that can make me compromise my stand with Christ. No amount of of money. Once you compromise this, every other thing fails. In Acts chapter 4 verse 13, when they saw the apostles, they had been with Jesus. These people had been with Jesus. Act 4:13. Everybody saw them. They didn't see Christianity written on their forehead. The way they live their life. And you will know. Someone who has been with Christ, you will know. You don't know it by what they are saying alone, but what they are saying and what they are doing. How they respond to people. How they react to correction. How they react to temptation. How they manage crisis. How they treat their husband. How they treat their wives. All of those things are symbols and signs. And he appointed it to a personal relation with God. Once, so Satan doesn't just come to give people temptation. He first weakens them. He weakens them. You have every reason in the world not to pray. Bill Gates doesn't pray. He's a billionaire. That's what Christians are saying now. How does that concern you? Life is a personal adventure. Whether he doesn't pray or he prays doesn't concern me. Jesus said, men are not to faint. If there was any man in the world who would never pray, who should never pray, it was Jesus. So if Jesus prayed, who is that man of God on earth that tells you prayer is not good and you believe him? Is that man your ultimate authority or Jesus? And Apostle Paul says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. That word wrestle was not in past tense. Wrestle, continuous tense. Battles every day. I am tempted every day. I know I can fall if I am careless. And so that mindset doesn't position me in a place of complacency. I'm strong, I can fall. Anybody can fall. The Bible says, let he that stands take heed lest he fall. Anybody can fall. And if that mindset is in me, I know that I have to be serious with prayer and the word, and prayer and the word, and the prayer and the word. And when I'm studying the word, I am not studying the word with a denominational lens. I don't read the Bible using the voice of my spiritual father. One of the three most prominent pastors in Nigeria, whom everybody knows. I went to see him about 4 years ago, and I gave him one of my books. And he opened the first page and I read the first page. He was saying, this is one of the most three prominent. Now, if I copied him word for word, and I copied his messages, and I put them in the book, he will read them just smiling. He knows what he has been saying since anyway. The next thing he said to me was, I should pastor. And God said no. Tremendous man. I love him dearly. I don't read the Bible with my denominational lenses. What does the Baptist say? The Baptists believe that there is no tongue speaking in tongues. What does the Catholic say? Or do the Catholic? What I just read it with the Holy Spirit leading. What does this verse is? What is it saying? Whether it is pricking me or not pricking me, I believe it the way it is written. That is how to produce mature Christians. Sons, and only sons are given. The Bible says, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. Children are not given to a generation to transform generations because they are not mature. Only sons are given out. To produce a son from a child, you have to take that child through rigorous process of feeding, correct protein, correct carbohydrates, the normal quantity of water. Otherwise, you produce kwashoko children, big head, tiny neck, big tummy. And I'm stressing this area because that is the foundation. Relationship. Satan does not destroy a pastor until he has destroyed relationship with God. They will give you all the invitations in this world that will make you find it hard to pray. You will have 10 places to preach. There was a time I was preaching about 15 times a month. 14 or 15 times a month, a particular year. Wednesday meeting, Friday meeting, Sunday meeting, all kinds of live program. And it began to drain me. It began to drain me. Because for each of those 15 sessions, you have to prepare 15 times. Because I don't repeat messages. I have to prepare afresh. And it began to affect the way I pray. I was struggling to pray, struggling to fast. Before it now became reduced. Now I preach about 8 or 10 times a month now. About 8 or 10 times a month. Or more. At least 8 times. At least 8 times a month. So it was cut down by 50%. Now we have defined the correct foundation for ministry. That foundation is what is going to affect your ability to manage delays. Now you know that ministry growth, finances, signs and wonders, church growth, networking, they are not as important as relationship with God. So it will help you to be able to develop the necessary virtues and values to wait for God. Whether I have 200,000 members or 20, the 20 God has given me is okay by me. I do not want to compromise my stand. The man that will say that will be a man that has a relationship with Christ and he loves Jesus and doesn't want to offend Jesus. And he's not a hyper grace preacher. Anything I do, grace covers it. That is visa to hell. The people that are saying that they are in hell now. Anything I do, sleeping with anybody's wife, grace has covered it. And you continue to do it. Make a mistake and die without repenting. Make a mistake and die. Jesus was speaking to the apostles one day. He said, anyone who causes any of this little one to sin, it is better that a meal be put on his neck and he sunk in the river. Anyone who causes believers to go into error. That is why pastors don't know how strategic the role of a pastor is. The judgment of ministers of God is heavy duty before God. Heavy duty judgment. The people that teach people, Jesus said it is better for them to be sunk in the sea. Anyone that teaches people error, he said, put a meal on their neck and sink them in the sea. It came out of Jesus, who taught us love. Jesus taught us pray for your enemies. He taught us love. And now he's saying people causing people to go into error, sink them in the sea. It's in the Bible. And that will give you a perspective how God views errors. He views error. What you are saying will impact 100 million people. And they will believe it because they love you as a pastor. And they will be doing it. Hey, masturbation is not a sin. Adultery is not a sin. And you say it publicly, and later on, you go back to your room and you repent, but you did not come back to the public and correct it. Millions of people are struggling with masturbation, and they believe that my father has said it. He's a man I respect, I love. That means it must be true. Grace covers it, and they'll be doing it, and they'll be doing it. These are the kind of things that drag people out of personal relationship. Because one thing that makes personal relationship to be strong is that you are a honest person. Even when you are making mistake, you are honest. A man of integrity is not a sinless man. He's a man that has fault, but he will acknowledge his fault anytime he's confronted, and he will change. That is integrity. Integrity is not absence of error. Even if you have errors and they confront you, this thing is wrong. You, wow, are you serious? I'm very sorry. And you repent, and you stop, and you go back to who you have misled, and you tell them what I have taught you is wrong. That is a man of integrity. That is integrity. And that was the distinguishing factor between David and Saul. God says David is a man after my heart. So I will never take my mercy away from the house of David, like I took it away from the house of Saul. When Saul was confronted by his sin, he was making excuses. I have killed the Amalekites. I have done what God asked me to do. And Samuel said, what about this bleating of the sheep I am hearing? Oh, not me, not me. The people brought them. I'm not part of it. Oh, the people brought them. We want to sacrifice to God. And Samuel said, does the Lord ask pleasure in sacrifice, like in obeying his voice? For to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. And that was the day God ended the ministry of Saul. David committed adultery. David killed people. As soon as Nathan, the prophet, got to David, and he gave David the Proverbs, and he gave him the Bible, and David went on his face. I have sinned against the Lord, and he repented. The difference between that man and Saul, honesty of heart, honesty of heart. It will save you from a lot of pain in ministry. You don't have a honest heart, you won't go far with God. You don't have a honest heart, you won't go far with God. Your personal relationship, personal altar will be weak. God will tell you to go and apologize to your husband. Even when you are wrong, you are right is wrong. God should go apologize. How dare me apologize? Never. Over a dead body. But you don't know what God is seeing. That apology is what God wants to use to break that man down. Because God has already seen that man will come back and cry before you and repent and get closer to God because you apologize to him. That is the wisdom of God. But a man that has a honest heart, even when you are going through pain, say, I give it up to Jesus. I give it up to Jesus. So if your values as a pastor or a minister, number one is to become popular, failure will come. I want to have money, failure will come. I want to subdue people and be the most popular. Everybody must be beneath me, failure will come. You want to overcome idleness. You lost a job, you are fired from your job, and the only thing remaining is let me start a church. You enter trouble because you will look for every way to prosper that work. Many people that are pastors today are supposed to be engineers, doctors, dentists, because they failed in their career and they think that pastoring, starting a ministry is a quicker way of making money. They are in it. They are the ones, many of them are corrupting the name of Christ now. Because when the challenges of ministry comes, when the troubles come, if you are not called there, and this affects every other kind of ministry. The Lord has laid this word on my heart today, and that is why I am pouring out my thought to you. Even if it is only one pastor that is going to learn from this, go and invest in your personal relationship. Go and invest. Go and invest. Go and build your library. Go and read books. Buy good books. Don't buy motivation. 48 laws of prosperity. 48 laws of prosperity. The books in your library, 98% of them are prospering in ministry. Prospering in ministry. All the books, there are no books that speak to being lonely with God, being alone with God. There are no books that tell you about honesty of heart in ministry. There are no books that tell you about last days prophecy. You are building a kwashoko ministry. As much as money is important in ministry, money can destroy people. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil, which some having coveted after have made a shipwreck of their faith. That is destruction of their faith. I do not place anything in this world above my relationship with God. I love Jesus. I have been offended. I have been abused. And when I want to respond, the love of God constrains me. I said, no, I love Jesus. I can't do it. I cannot do it. How would I do it? And I'll go back and pray tonight. I won't be able to pray now. I will study scriptures. The heaven will be like brass. No flow. So that thing will be constraining you. So anytime you see people misbehaving continuously. Now, I'm not saying any mistake from anyone. It means you have left your your relationship with God. No, continuous. Something is an habit. The person is a perpetual liar. He perpetually preaches error. Something is wrong with his relationship. Something is wrong. And many of them, they know something is wrong, but they are not truthful. They are not honest. What will people say? That is the question. If I decide to change my message, I have preached for 40 years, for 50 years. What will people say before God Almighty? What people will say? And we are talking about eternity, a journey of no return. Where the parents will not be there, your friend will not be there, pastor friends are not going to be there. Before you and God alone, you are talking about what people will say. What people will say. Oh my God. What people will say. Ministry is therefore service to humanity, being a servant. It is an office for serving people. Jesus modeled that office when he took water to wash the feet of the disciples. As I have done to you, go and do to others. Go and serve people. Go and serve people. When the apostles performed a miracle, I think it was Paul and Silas, and they wanted to sacrifice to them. They stopped. Paul stopped them. Say, we are human beings like you. They will make sure people never worship them. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 11. If I don't give this background and I begin to discuss the remedies to undo delay, I will not do justice to this teaching. I have to make sure the foundation is very strong, because there is nothing you build on a faulty foundation that will last. I have remedies here for handling these delays, financial delays, church growth. But if I start with them and I just brush aside these issues, I'm not helping you. These are the things that God teaches me and is still teaching me, that God is using to help me and to stabilize me, because I am prone to every mistake and every error, like every other average person on earth is prone to. Apostle Paul in Ephesians 4:11, he was talking about the role of the ministry gift. So for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, work of service, for the edifying of the people of God, building people, so that we will all ultimately come to unity and maturity. So, as I conclude in this last session, I'm going to remedies now. The beginning, the foundation. Now, listen to this. The people that have left this platform now, I pray they come back and listen to this part. The beginning is to have a correct orientation about what ministry is. The orientation is my relationship with Christ is more important than ministry. And you must do everything possible to protect that relationship. That is the quality control. It will save you from trouble. That is the beginning, the foundation. Now, the end is, what is my goal? You know the foundation. What is the goal? Why am I a pastor? What is the goal? How will God measure my effectiveness? What am I aiming towards? 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 13. That is the key. So if you know the beginning and you know the end, to handle the delays in the middle. See what I'm saying? I sometimes wish they lock all the pastors in Ghana, pastors in Angola, pastors in Cameroon, pastors in Nigeria, and they give me 30 minutes. Lock them up in the stadium. Nobody must go out. And they allow them to hear this I'm saying. And they tell them, you must not stone me. You must not shoot me. Everybody must drop their weapon before they enter the stadium, because they will stand up and throw stones at me. And rubbish. What is he talking about? Before you are born, I've been called to ministry. Because truth is bitter. What is the ultimate end? 1 Corinthians 3:13. For every one of us. No. That is 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ and give an account. First Corinthians 3:13 says, for the fire shall test every man's work of what quality it is. The fire shall test every man's work. God will test your work and my work. There is a teaching I did, quality and quantity. Go and listen to that message. It's my timeline on my YouTube channel, Word Ablaze. God is going to test your work and mark your script. Anything you are doing, you are an engineer, whatever you are doing, this is not just passes alone. God is going to measure it and assess it using only one marking scheme. Fire. The fire will test it. What quality, not quantity. The day I saw that scripture, you know, I do not measure quantity, I measure quality. Because I am a trained process consultant, engineer. I know what is called process engineering. God does not measure quantity. The day that revelation jumped at me, He does not reward quantity. It is quality first. Quantity becomes important after the criterion of quality is satisfied. And I said, Lord, what do you mean by quality? How do you measure quality? I have 10 members. He has 10,000 members. How do you measure quality? He asked me to go to Matthew 25. Matthew 25. Matthew 25. There was a master. He was going on a journey. He gave 5 talents to one, 2 talents to the other, 1 talent. When he came back to ask for the stewardship, he called the first person. The first person said, here is your 5 talents, an additional 5 talents. The man said, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Same thing for the second one. For the last one, he said, well done, thou good and wicked, thou evil and wicked servant. No, thou wicked and lazy servant. Wait a minute. The guy was given 5, he produced 5. The master said, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Now, it was Derek Prince of blessed memory, that wonderful man of God. He said, note that scripture. The Bible did not say, the man said, well done, thou good and successful servant. It blew me up that day. Wow. He said, thou good and faithful servant. It is in the world we pursue and measure success. In heaven, it is faithfulness, not success. You can be successful and you are not faithful, but you cannot be faithful and not be successful. It changed my life forever. I wrote a book about this. I'm saying it changed my life forever. So what God is looking at in your ministry, in your church, in your business that He has given you is not the success per se, because success in the world language is having big money, having big church, having many cars, having plane, large numbers, being famous. In the front page of newspaper, everybody is coming to you, bowing down to you, and you are successful. But that is different from faithfulness. Let me explain what success is and faithfulness is. You are given 5 questions in an examination, and you are asked, answer question 1 and any other 3 questions. Answer question 1 and any other 3, and you pick the paper and you answer question 2, 3, 4. The instructions say answer question 1 and any other 3 questions. So in total, you must do 4 questions. But you must do question 1 is a compulsory question. And then you can choose any other 3 questions you like. But you got the paper. You answered question 2, 3, 4, 5. You still answer 4 questions. And you got all the 4 questions correctly. You are successful, but you are not faithful. You are successful. You got the questions correctly. The 4 questions, but you are not faithful. So faithfulness is grounded in obedience to instructions. Doing the right thing. And that is what drives the concept of quality. So what quality does is that you are producing a product that meets customers' specification. That is what I did for more than 10 different companies I have consulted for in my professional career. They will give you a template. The customer wants this shape. The customer wants this millimeter. If you produce the product lower than the customer specification, he won't collect it. Even if it's a good product you produced, they will go and check their original specs. I want a 10 millimeter black color tire. If you do 60 millimeter and you put in jewels, you put in diamonds, the customer will not accept it from you. You did a successful job, but you were not faithful. What am I saying? The foundation of success in ministry is relationship with Christ, strong one, growing one, and the ultimate end is I must be faithful. So when you live your life like that, I want to be faithful is the ultimate end. The beginning is I want to be with Jesus. You will be able to manage delays. You know in your mind, I am not pursuing money because I want to use that money to attract attention. It will transform your value system. It will transform your activities. It will influence your choice of friends, choice of church. Everything around you will be influenced because you are not looking at man as your ultimate rewarder. You want God to be pleased with you. You want to understand the details of your assignment and focus on it. So when money, church growth, networking, all those issues that bother pastors come on your desk, say, God, thank you for where I am now. I will continue to trust you. I will continue to pray. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? If you are told something to do that is contrary to the value of your personal relationship with Christ, you trash it. Say, I can't do that. Oh, if you don't do it, your church will not grow. I rather have 10 members that are going to heaven than having 10,000 members on their way to hell. That is a faithful man. That is a faithful man. The Bible says a faithful man who shall find. It is a rare commodity in our generation. Faithful men. Faithful men. Faithful pastors. It is a rare commodity. The first thing Satan kills in a man of God is faithfulness. It begins to pursue success. Success, show me a scripture in the Bible where Apostle Paul says, I want to be successful in ministry. It is faithfulness, faithfulness, faithfulness. And that is building your life on doing the right things, truth, the right things, truth, right things all the time. Answer question 1 and any other 3. You answer question 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. You got those questions correctly. Did them very well. Answer them very well. If I am the examiner, you have failed that exam. You have failed that exam. I used to have a friend, one of the most brilliant human beings I have ever seen in my life. I have not met anybody from Africa that is as intelligent as this man. He's a genius. He doesn't write calculations down. When you give him figures, it tells you that's on his head. Complex calculations. When we were in secondary school, they will give us questions to solve. Answer question 1 and answer, no, they won't say question 1. Answer any 4 questions out of 5. Answer any 4 questions out of 5. My friend will answer all the 5 questions. He will answer them. When it is 5 minutes to submit him, he will cancel word out. He dares not submit the 5 questions. The guy is a genius. He was so proud and pompous at the time. When teachers were teaching us, he would stand up and be correcting them. And he was right. They were wrong. But when he got to the exam hall, he received senses. He will answer all the 5 questions. And when it is 5 minutes to submit his paper, he will now look at 1 and cancel it. So we now go to him and say, you, instead of wasting that question, why don't you give it to us? Give it to us So he will give us those one question that you didn't know, that you cancelled out. You know all the 5 questions. We are even struggling with you. Give that one to us. We will. So after the exam, he will tell us, I did all the 5, I cancelled one. You cancelled one. Should have sent that one to me. If you are grounded in the foundation and you are working on your relationship with God, you will not miss it. No matter the wind of errors blowing in our generation, you survived. If your ultimate goal is to be faithful with God, you will not miss it. How many church conferences, ministers' conferences in Ghana, Nigeria, do you hear them teaching this kind of thing to ministers? If you gather 1,000 pastors' conferences, you will not find 10 of them talking about this. You will not. I've been around for a few years. I'm not an old man, but the few things I have seen, you will not. When you tell people these things, it takes away focus from the big pastors. It shifts people's focus to God. And many of these big pastors don't want people to focus on God. They want them to focus on themselves. Because the more you focus on me, the more I will make money from you. You will give me prophet offering. You will give me things. So they will preach that message to focus more on themselves. And they will tell you, I did the same thing too. When I was struggling, I went to my father in Australia, and he did something for me, and I prospered. So that will manipulate your mind that if he did it, it worked for him. If I do it to him, it worked for me too. Boom. The cycle of control and manipulation then continues. It continues. It continues. It continues. And people will go and look for money. What my ears have heard. Thank God for wisdom. What my ears have heard. And so God is pushing. One man of God called me in Nigeria and said, go and start to do ministers' conferences. Said, please go and start to do ministers' conferences. Said, please, God will use you to change so many lives. Go and start to do ministers' conferences. I don't have 5 P's of prosperity. I don't know 5 S of success. I don't know 5 E of exploit in ministry. What I know is this. He appointed the 12 that first they might be with him, and then they might preach the gospel. And 2, for the fire shall test every man's work of what quality it is on the last day. Quality is primary to God, not quantity. Relationship is primary to Christ, not ministry. If you hinge your leg, your feet on these 2 things, you can never miss God. You can never live a fruitless life. Your ministry, your church, your business, these principles are applicable to any career. You will be very effective. You will make impact on earth, and you'll be relevant eternally. You will make impact on earth. I don't know why the Holy Spirit is asking me to share this story, although I've shared it before. But I think it's going to affect somebody's perception, and I'm going to share it. Because I should have finished in the last 30 minutes. There is this man of God in Australia. He has a big church. Not a big church, relatively. And he will be preaching the church. He will scream, I wish someone can tell the whole of Australia about eternity. Imagine I am a pastor and I come to church on Sunday and I climb the altar and I'm preaching. I wish someone can tell the whole of Lagos, Nigeria about eternity. So the man will be shouting, I wish someone can tell the whole of Sydney, Australia about eternity. One man in that church, you felt driven by God. God gave him the vision immediately. Go and tell the whole of Sydney about eternity. The man went to go and buy a paint and a brush. Every morning, 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m., before anybody came out in the winter, in the scorching winter, he will be writing eternity on the pavement on the walls, and he will walk kilometers doing it. By the time people wake up in the morning and they are going to work, they are seeing eternity. Eternity. Who is this mystery man? He did it for 15 years. No church auditorium, no adverts, no flyer. Nobody knew him. They call him a mystery man. He will not do it in the same place. So the next day, he will go to a different city entirely, a different street. So they were not able to track him. But by the time people wake up in the morning, they will see eternity. That man had a one-word ministry. John Bevere said, the man with the one-word ministry. That was 1965 or thereabout. In the year 2000, by divine arrangement, the day I had this story, I said, God, if you can use anybody. In year 2000, Australia won the bid to hold the Olympics. And they were to do the opening ceremony in Sydney Centre Square. The very spot, the very last spot where this man wrote the word eternity, Sydney Centre Square, because somebody already carved that center and put eternity. They carved it for him. They didn't know that God was one moving them. The opening ceremony of Sydney 2000 Olympics held at Sydney Centre Square. And the Australian government put all their satellite systems, whatever, because they wanted to broadcast the Olympics to the whole world. And history tells us that more than 2 billion people all over the world watched the opening events. And when they beamed the light of the satellite dish, it went directly to the word eternity. Oh my God. It went directly. The satellite captured the word eternity in a space of seconds. More than 2 billion people all over the world saw that word. The man with a one-word ministry captured the attention of 2 billion people. The man with a one-word ministry, he was writing eternity. He was not known, he was not celebrated, there was no fame, there was no money, there was no church, and more than 2 billion people around the world. God sensitized the attention of the whole world to the reality of eternity by the ministry of a man with one word. A man that was driven by only one agenda: I must be faithful to God. Nobody knew him. That is why you do not know the impact of obedience to God. My church is not big. You do not know whether that small church of 5 people will produce the president of your nation 20 years time. And the values you are teaching that young man will keep him going. And God will credit the result of his own success into your account. The ways of God are mysterious. Today, that man is a celebrity in Australia. He's dead, long ago. They have written a book about him. And I read that. The man with the one-word ministry. He wrote one word alone, and more than 2 billion people. Many pastors have preached 2 billion messages. One person has not been impacted. People are hearing, they are not impacted. There is a difference between hearing a message and being impacted. 2 words, 2 different things. Everybody can hear you. Not everybody will be transformed. Information is different from transformation. You can preach a sweet sermon, motivation. People will hear, hey, and they will still go back to their homes, beat their wives, sleep with their house helps, no changes in their lives. That is one of the problems Nigeria is facing. Millions of people go to church every Sunday. The country is still evil, wicked, corrupt, because the messages are not transformational. They just inform people. They do not transform. They don't transform. They don't transform. This man only had a one-word ministry. One-word ministry. So, do not allow numerics, numbers, to drive you to do what you should not do. I want my church with 20,000 members. I want this one. Do not copy errors. Don't reinforce failure. Don't copy people. Don't copy people. Don't copy people. Don't copy people. I want to be like him. I want to be like her. Manage that 10 members. Dr. John MacArthur said, he said, you worry about the depth of your ministry and leave God to worry about the breadth of your ministry. Worry about the depth. Go deep. And leave God to worry about the breadth. If it is only 10 people, make sure you develop and build them. Turn them to champions. Turn them to kingdom stalwarts. And leave the rest to God. One man went to D.L. Moody. D.L. Moody used to be a great man of God. He said, my church is very small. My church is very small. D.L. Moody said, maybe you want your church to be as big as the numbers of people you will give account to God for on the last day. Maybe you want your church to be as big as the numbers of people you will give account to God for. If you have 10 people, your case is small. The people that have 10 million, they will give account for each of those 10 million. That's why pastors do not know how serious it is to be given that calling. And they make a mess. And they are boasting about people, telling them you are wrong, you are wrong. Who are you? Who are you? Touch not my anointed. Before I was born, you better allow men to touch you on earth, and you go to heaven and you get your reward, than be untouched, being uncorrected. Everybody saying yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, until you die. It is destruction. A yes man ministry can never bless the world. People call me and correct me. My wife corrects me. My wife corrects me. I will finish to tell me this thing I don't think is right. This thing is not right. I have people who call me and correct me and tell me this thing, can you change it? And you will never catch me arguing blindly with an error. Once it is in a word like this and it's wrong, it is wrong, regardless of who is teaching it. It is wrong means it is wrong. That is how to build disciples and national transformers. So let's go to the remedies. I'm now assuming that we have all understood the first sections we have had. So you're having problem with church growth. I've talked about be faithful with God. God rewards faithfulness. Focus on the depth. Let God worry about the breadth. So let's leave church growth. Finance. If you can find a job, there is nothing wrong in a man of God, a pastor, working part-time or working full-time. Now, I understand that there are certain cases where God instructs people not to work. It is very, 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 very possible. And God gives them a mandate. They are missionaries. And Ryan Bonke was married to a woman, and the woman was working as an air hostess. And when Ryan Bonke moved to South Africa to start his ministry, the wife had to join him there. She had to resign her job. She was working with Lufthansa. Now, there are people, their ministry, their work compels them to focus full time. That is a different ball game. If you do not have that kind of instruction from God, go and find a job. When you are making money legitimately through a very clean and decent business or through a work, it will give you the boldness to speak the truth. The reason why I have the boldness to talk the way I'm talking is that I do not wait for people to give me money to eat. I use my skills to make money. I am trained. I have gone to school and I am trained. I consult for organizations. I make money from it. All the books we publish, I get the money I use to publish books from the work I do. And so, that I do not work again, I would have other means of making money. I can buy a land, keep it for 3 years. When the money improves, sell the land, make money. I can go into stocks. I can use the money I've made, my salaries for any job I've done. There are so many things you can do online. A lot of online businesses. A lot of things people do legitimately to make money. If you do not do any of these things and you put your trust in people, you will burn your fingers. When somebody brings stolen money to you, you collect it. They bring ritual money, you collect it. They bring all kind of money, you collect it. Because you have no choice. Your wife is hungry, children are hungry, no school fees to pay. You will need money. Out of pressure, you can break. When people reach breaking points and they need money to solve emergencies, you have a child in the hospital, somebody in your church brings money to you, it's a corrupt politician, you will collect it and say, God will forgive me. That is how it comes. So don't bring yourself to a place of extreme pressure. If you have gone to school, you look for something you can do. There are so many where it was very, very bad in those days. Things are easier now. There are a lot of online businesses people can do. There are people who write articles. I have a lot of social media people. They do social media adverts and they are paid for it. Facebook has a social media advert. There are people who are training people in that area. You just help people do adverts and you are paid, and they pay them thousands. There are many things you can do that will give you time. The normal complaint of pastor, oh, I won't have time, I won't have time, I won't have time. You don't pray for 24 hours a day. You still have 2, 3, 4 hours. Go, and there is nothing sinful in working and pastoring. Please don't let people confuse you. That, oh, once you are working as a pastor, you have gone to the world. Those things are wrong, they are errors. You will burn your fingers because under pressure, you will go and look for money anyway, anyhow, and it will devalue and debrand you. Go and start a business. Paul was a tent maker. So that is finance, miraculous, signs and wonders. Every pastor wants to see, wants to be a prophet. Everybody wants to do prophetic. And Satan knows the heart of man. People don't want to build their lives on the word. They want to build their life on prophetic. Good. There are so many things you can do to see. I know people who collect occultic water. They wash their face. They will see everything about a woman. It is not the Holy Spirit telling a pastor the color of the underwear of a woman. That is Satan talking. That is the spirit of whoredom and immorality. That is the spirit of whoredom and immorality. The Holy Spirit has no business with the colors of people's underwear. He has too much problem to solve in the Middle East. He has too much souls that are perishing that should be saved. He has no business with people's underwear. It is the spirit of whoredom and immorality that has built estates in the acts of that that is making him to be seen what he should not be seen. So the desire for miracle comes sometimes naturally. Sometimes it is motivated by compassion. There is nothing wrong. Signs and wonders follow those that believe, but don't pursue it mechanically. If it is not working, there was a time I was crying to God for a particular ministry gift. I said, God, you know my heart. Give me this gift. I prayed, fasted for the past 20 years, if not more. I pray to God. That gift has refused to manifest. One day I said, God, I am not praying this prayer again. If you like, give me. You don't like. You get to a point with God, you become, what is it now? And the Lord said to me, if I give you this gift, He will distract you. You will not teach people again. The problem we have is scarcity of teachers. If I give you this gift, your teaching ministry will collapse. You teach again. That was the day I stopped complaining. That was the day I stopped complaining. Say, I know your heart. I know human beings. If you have this gift, there is that gift I've been asking God. One of the major gifts. I said, God said, the one you have is what I want now for the world to hear. Focus on that. Don't worry. Focus on the one you have. Leave the one you don't have. After more than 20 years. If I decide not to listen to God, and I want to get signs and wonders by every means possible, there are plenty of ways of doing it. I have plenty of people that will go and call. They will take me to Ijebu in Nigeria. They will ask me to go and do something. Before you know what is happening, if I call, everybody will fall down. And then money will be coming. And already when you do that, you are already on your way to hell. Actually pray yourself into manifestations of signs and wonders. There are people, every ministry gift follows a ministry of a series of these. The office of the prophet, the word of knowledge, and the discerning of spirit. They back up the office of prophet. Prophet can see in the spirit realm. They will tell you what happened or what will happen. And the gift of prophecy. There are three categories of gifts in the Bible. There is the power gift. There is the revelation gift. There is the utterance gift. The power. Hallelujah. The power gifts are the gifts of healings, working of miracles, and special faith. That's power gift. Gift of and gift of faith or special faith. That's power gift. There is revelation gift, which is word of knowledge and discerning of spirit. And there is utterance gift. Utterance gifts are three as well. Diverse kinds of tongues. I forgot the last two because I can't remember. But there is utterance gift, power gift, and there is revelation gift. These three categories of gift, they back up different offices. If you don't need a particular gift, God will not give you. So when God was calling into ministry, and my primary calling is teaching, one of the gifts of a teacher is word of wisdom. Word of wisdom. Your ability to understand letters, to understand words, and to synthesize them in a way that when people listen to them, it will prick their hearts. That is word of wisdom. And you can also see the spirit behind letters. And when you speak to people, that word will meet their needs, their spiritual needs. It can even see deeper into their hearts and see what is happening. Sometimes you may even be specific and say it. Sometimes you're just teaching. You are teaching and people are getting touched on their seat. Did anybody report me, Pastor Ayo? No, that is a word of wisdom working. So if you don't need that gift, God will not give it to you. Focus on what you have and see how God will make that gift to affect and impact lives. The last one, which is another big chunk, is network. You want to be networked. Everybody wants his ministry to grow. You want them to know you in Norway, in America. You want them to know you all over the world. There are people who are genuinely looking for ministry open doors because they want to reach souls and bless people. But that is the minority. The majority are looking for opportunities to make money and be popular. I want to be close to TD Jakes. Is it because of souls of men? No! Because TD Jakes has direct access to the White House. If I'm TD Jakes' son or TD Jakes' friend, he will take me to the White House. The day I knew that God was already working on me, I said, God is working on me, was the day I got an invitation to come to Aso Rock, Nigeria, to pray, and I turned it down. I say this with every respect to the office of the president. I say it with every sense of humility, every sense of responsibility. I do not mean to discredit anyone. I do not mean to boast. I have to say this because I want to pass across a point. And it's personal. There is nothing wrong in going to pray in any political environment. Just make sure you are declaring the word of the Lord and you are doing the right thing. You are not being bribed. No problem. But when I got that invitation, as I went to pray, my spirit said, no, don't go. No, don't go. I'm not going. And I called two pastors in Nigeria, whom I have great respect for. I said, I have this invitation to come and pray the current political, because I led a prayer session in my country here where the special advisor to the president came and other political figures were there, and I prayed to the glory of God. So they took the video to the presidency, and the team And from the president, they placed a phone call to the head of the team in Canada. And the person called me. I said, this is opportunity. Let's go to the presidency. Let's go. I said, no, wait, sir. Let me think about it. Give me 2 days. He said, you don't want to go. Okay, that is you. That is you. It is left with you. This is an open ticket. An open ticket. I said, sir, give me some time to think about it. That was like a Friday or so. He said, give me till Monday. Let me think about it. I don't just rush at things. Let me think about it. And I went to think about it. I was praying. I didn't have any release in my spirit. And every time I'm having struggle in my spirit and things are not clear, I exercise caution. Then I said, let me call 2 people. I called 2 pastors in Nigeria. And the 2 of them said, no, don't go. After I already made up my mind, I will not go. And exactly the reasons that the Holy Spirit gave me. Or what he said, don't go. He said, it's not time. Don't go. If I was not careful, I would have done that thing. I would have gone. And obedience to the voice of God sometimes may be averting disasters that you will not know. There are people that have honored such occasions, such opportunities, and they have burned their fingers. There are times God will tell you, don't go somewhere. Or you go somewhere, God will tell you, leave that place. Leave, quick, leave, leave. If your relationship is weak, you read the Bible once every 2 months. You spend 15 hours on Facebook. You are on Instagram for 10 hours. You will not hear anything. There is this man of God. I have to make sure I hide all the details. Nobody must make a guess because I don't expose sensitive things like that. How do I say it? In a particular country, that will make it very generic. There is this man of God that went on invitation to a church. When he got to that church, he was sent to the hotel where the church hosts guests. And as he sat in the hotel, now the friend of this pastor told me this story. So I'm not telling you what I read on Google or on YouTube. The night he finished preaching in that church, he went back to the hotel and he said he had a knock on his door. And a lady came into the room. The lady was half naked. He was one of the ushers in the church. And he brought some fruit, some things. The man said immediately he set his eyes on that lady, he began to lust. And he felt like sleeping with that lady on the spot. He said he was just struggling. The lady spent some minutes in his room. And the lady was throwing all the advances using a higher body. And the man was, okay, thank you very much. Okay. Oh, how are you, sir? How was the meeting tonight? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I brought this food. Oh, thank you. Okay. Man said he was struggling. He said when the lady eventually left, he said all through the night, he was lost. What was that pastor supposed to do? He was supposed to pack his bag, pack his Bible, and go back and leave that environment immediately. Because this was an usher that was assigned to him. Now, immediately I see something, my ministration has ended that day. That is the way I behave. And my wife knows me. I'm very erratic when it comes to that. I'll tell her, join me in the car. I am in the car. Okay, you don't want to call. Come. You can call Uber. I am off. I've gone. When I get home, I will explain to you. This pastor stayed. And he went for the second session because he was preaching for 2 days. When he got back to the church, the friend called him and said, I hope you enjoy your night. He said, yes, I did. He said, you enjoy your night? He said, yes, I did. It was fine. He said, do you really enjoy your night? He said, I said it was fine. The pastor was making mention of the usher he sent to him because the pastor planned it that way. He wanted that man to sleep with the lady. But man said, I enjoyed my night. I enjoyed it. The food was good. I had a nice drink. He said, no, do you really enjoy it? He said, what do you mean? The pastor now changed the topic. He finished preaching and then went back to his hotel. And they now sent another one to bring food to him. This time around, this one was a killer. You know when you see some killer? I'm talking about killer. Killer. It was, they packaged that lady from hell. He said when that lady entered and he pressed the bell of the hotel and he entered, it was after he finished sleeping with her that his eyes opened. It was after. It said he didn't know what was happening. It was after he finished that he said, what have I done? He said within a split of minutes. The first time the Holy Spirit, that is a faithful spirit, gave him the urge, the sign, the man ignored it. The man is in soup now. The man is in soup now. Because these girls are not human beings. They are agents. So the pastor who was his friend, I'm talking about networking. Networking. It's a destroyer if you do it mechanically. Everybody cannot be your friend. Every pastor that is doing well did not become great because God did it to them. Many of them are in covenants, selling their soul to Satan. We know these things. These things are not secret. The friend has an agenda to recruit as many pastors as possible into their fold. And the only way they can do it is to get them to sleep with their agents. And this man fell for it. And he began to cry. He's finished. Hey, he's finished. He's finished. And he called a man of God whom I'm close to. Said, come. Let me go and tell my wife. I'll go and tell my wife. The man said, if you want to go and tell your wife, go and tell your wife. I am not advising you. I do. If you do, that woman will kill you. I mean, they were fighting. Okay, let's go and pray first. Okay, let's repent. Okay, let's go and see. Let's go and tell her. I mean, the man's everything began to collapse. The man is in big trouble. I'm talking about a very senior man of God. Network. I want to be great. I want to be great. And you fold your arms, you join your hands together with people you do not know. And even when you have entered, the Lord is giving you, leave, giving you a signal, leave, and you refuse to leave, you will burn your fingers. How many pastors that networking has destroyed? Has destroyed. And when you enter, Satan will tell you, go. If you go, you will die. If you go, you will die. Your greatest network is God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Make them your greatest network. Every other network that you want, be guided by the Spirit. Be guided by the Spirit. I did a 4-week series on guided by the Spirit. Do not allow what you see on the surface to motivate you. What is inside sometimes is rotten. And you will not know it until you enter. Satan will make sure he decorates it with chocolates. And all these things is when you enter, you will know what is happening. It's when you enter, you will know what is happening. Networking is not by force. Come and join the league of big boys pastor, the helicopter pastor. But you don't see anything wrong in flying a plane. Nothing is sinful in court. I need the plane to go all over the world. The way those things will be presented to people, it will sound logical. When you enter and they tell you the terms and conditions to become to the club of the big boys, it will become too late. And they will tell you, you have had our secret now. You cannot go anywhere. And most of those times, it is men that are involved. They will not transfer the trouble to their wives at home. And Satan has no free gift. If Satan gives you a cap, it will come for your head. Satan gives you a wristwatch, it will come for your hand. One day, 1 month, 1 year, you just hear Satan say, I want you to give me what you love most. And it's your wife I want, your son I want. He has no free gift. All of these things will affect a man that has not obeyed and so that has not understood the concept I taught in the beginning. And he appointed the 12 that they might be with him, and then they might preach the gospel. Relationship with Christ is superior to ministry. Protecting that thing and guiding it, it will save you from headache. And then number 2, a man whose ultimate motive, ultimate agenda is to be faithful to God. Faithfulness is different from success. A man can be successful in quote and not be a faithful servant. God does not reward success. He rewards faithfulness. Go and look at Matthew 25, 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 13. Apostle Paul described those things in details there. Jesus told many parables. In stewardship, faithfulness is required of every man. That is what Jesus said. Not success. But what success means in our generation is have money, have car, have house, you're on TBN, you're on Daystar, you're on everybody's and celebrating. There is nothing sinful in those things in the context. But if that is your drive, which is the drive of our generation, I want to be like Papa, be like Papa, be like Papa, be like Papa, you will miss it. I have a friend, one day I was talking to him, he's a minister, many years, about 7 years ago, thereabout. And he's following a man of God. And the man of God said, if you do what I do, you will see what I see. Do what I do, you will see what I see. And I said to my friend, that's rubbish. Why will you see what you are seeing? My friend was arguing with me. He was arguing with me. I said, do you know what God has called him to do? Is that your own calling? What kind of a theory is that? Where did you see that kind of thing in the Bible? Is it Jesus? Even if you do what Jesus has done, you won't see what you are saying. Can you die on the cross? Jesus died on the cross. That was his ultimate agenda. So you want to die on the cross, go and do what Jesus has done. Why do you mix up? My friend was arguing with me. As of today, my friend will come back to me and be telling me things that prove that I am right. And be telling me this is what is correct. This is, I said, but you told me that you should have done what you have done now. It is this craze for networking. I want to associate with the biggest pastor. I want to associate with, if you know what people do to get to the top outside of God. And this is a message that the Lord has given to me today to give to you. And please help me share this message. It will help a lot of pastors. It will help a lot of people. It will help a lot of pastors, ministers of God, particularly many of my friends and senior friends in Africa. This message will greatly help them. The more you listen and listen and listen and search the scripture to the same message, it becomes flesh, and the word will become flesh in you. And I'm going to bring this message to a close now. I didn't plan to spend 2 hours. These 2 hours and 7 minutes. But the Holy Spirit just kept pumping the word, pumping the word, pumping the word. And I want to put a stop to it because the spirit of a prophet is subject to the prophet. And next Saturday, I'm going to deal with delays in marriage. That one is a very, very hot subject too. Delays in marriage. Delays. A couple, or my husband is not good, my husband is stubborn, I've been waiting, God forgot to change him, my wife is this and that, I want to divorce my wife, should I divorce her? And you'll be having consistent problems and no solution in sight. I want us to teach and deal with those things and look at practical ways to overcome those kind of delays. It's very big subjects, and I'm trusting the Holy Spirit to give me grace to understand what to say and to say the right thing. It's a serious problem. We have a serious problem now. That's why God is raising our generation up. That if I am able to reach 10 people, you can reach 100 people. You can reach, and then in our own areas, our own different spheres, I am touching 10, you are touching 10. Collectively, the next generation, our children, things will be better for them. Because every new generation is an improvement on the previous. If I love money, if I am a money pursuer and I am greedy, my son will be super greedy. My son's sons will make Guinness Book of Record in the list of the most greedy people in the world. My son's son. So every new generation is an improvement on the previous. The younger pastors that are following errors now, they will do greater damage in the future than the big ones now, because they will be so reckless. You will see a pastor marrying 5 women the same day, and will tell you, God told me. He will do a wedding, and there will be 5 women on the altar with him, and he will tell you, the Lord told me to marry them. If we do not check these things in love, check it in love, teaching of the word of God undilutedly and doing it in love, and we fold our hands, say, God will correct his church, God will clean his church, God will clean his church. You don't have to take a cane and cane people. Just do a Facebook live and be teaching the word. Dominate the airspace with truth. There are errors in the airspace. Let us dominate the airspace with truth. Be pumping it out. Pumping it out. Be writing books. So I am writing books. I am doing Facebook. I am writing articles. You to be writing books. And let's dominate your world. When we dominate and saturate the environment with the truth, the lie will find escape route and disappear in a particular generation. So God will determine how the truth will be swallowed by people. It is not our role to take a knife and open people's throats and put it through there. They will not receive it and they will brand us as rebels. You just tell them the truth and say it in love and leave the Holy Spirit to do the correction. That is the scripture. And that's what I'm doing and what we have been doing in the past. So next Saturday, we are going to look at overcoming delays in marriage relationships, troublesome couples, troublesome spouses. My husband is a very bad man. He has been keeping extramarital affair for years. I am tired. He doesn't listen to me. How do you deal with those hardcore cases? And this is not an easy subject to treat. It's something that is hurting so many people. And so I'm going to take a lot of days from today to be thinking through it. What am I going to say? And because the Bible is very silent on these issues. You can't find any particular part in the Bible where the apostles had issues with their marriage and it was brought to the open. So those areas that are very silent in scriptures, they are difficult to teach because you have to be careful people don't brand you as being heretic or as being an extreme person. You have to stay within the confines of scripture and allow the wisdom of God. So it's a very tough subject to teach. And I trust the Holy Spirit to help me. Thank you, everyone. Brother Boris, Sister Neka, Sister Maureen. Every one of you is special to me. I love you all. Thank you for your time every week, week in, week out. See you on Saturday. Possibly there will be a broadcast during the week. And Saturday, I'll probably will do it later in the evening. Sorry, there's election on Saturday. Yeah, I remember now. So I will look for a time probably before the election, maybe a Friday or later in the evening of Saturday or a Sunday. I will find time to do it this week, one way or another. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a nice Saturday. Help me share this. God bless you so much. Thank you all.